Hey, good day to you all. It is Bobby Saget here with Bob Saget's Here for You. And this is an interesting episode. It's with a friend of mine. And sometimes you have your friends on, but this man has made so many movies. He's directed four, he's produced, 20. He's acted in 40. And he used to be a club promoter for a long time. It was a big career of his. And then he literally decided, I want to do my dream finally. And he started making independent films. And he's been in such movies as The Irishman. He was recently in Lansky with Harvey Keitel. He is a person who basically reveres everything Scorsese and De Niro and Pacino, and he is an interesting guy. He's a sweetheart of a guy, and he's got a movie that just came out, and it's called I Love Us, and it's in theaters right now, and it's also on everywhere you can watch it. It's on, Apple, iTunes, and Amazon, and just find it, and it's I Love Us, and I read the script, and I truly loved it. So Danny took it, started it, directed it, and this is him talking about it. And we always have a problem lighting each other. I'm okay because I got my setup, but with my exciting bookshelf behind me with a bunch of knickknacks. But Danny, I tried to do this with him, and he was in Israel at the time, and it was like 2 a.m. And it just, it was a nightmare trying to be able to record a podcast with him. So he's back in LA, and I get to talk to him right now. And I hope you enjoy it. You know what to do with this podcast. You know what to do. You rate, review, subscribe. You can subscribe and listen. You can follow. You can go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Bob Saget. I'm on tour everywhere. So as safely as possible, trying to make people laugh, not make them, help them laugh. And they're laughing because they want to be there and I want to be there. And I'm loving all my new material. Go to bobsaget.com, find out where I am. So Danny A, I've never known how to say his last name. He's going to help me. I still can't say it. I'm one of those people, you could tell me someone's name. If I have to learn it and I'm on camera, I will learn the name phonetically if necessary. But we call him Danny A, because that's who he is. And a lot of people, he is, in a way, a Kevin Bacon. A lot of people, you mention Danny A, and they start laughing. They go, I love Danny A. Oh, I've known Danny A from this, or that. Well, he's been making movie after movie. First, we take Brooklyn, and tons of movies. He did Club Life originally, the Jackie Ryan story, Mob Town, and he's a wonderful guy. Here he is, and we're going to be talking about his new movie out right now, I Love Us. Here comes my friend, Danny A. So, Danny, you're back in the U.S. You were gone a while. You were in Israel how long?
In the last 14, 15 months, I was there, I would say 9 months out of back and forth. I stay 2 months, I come back for 3 weeks. I stay a month and a half, I come back.
You're a brave man. So this is during a lot of people's quarantine and during very difficult times.
I actually quarantined 4 times when I was there. Every time I flew, I had to stay home for 2 weeks.
Right. And you're not a homebody. If it was up to you, you'd be out places, having dinners, being with people. If it wasn't the world we're in.
Yeah, it was tough. But it really helped me with my relationship because I got to really spend time with my fiance May, and when there's nothing else to do and it's just you and her and just talking and spending.
You want me to be with her when it's just me?
I would look. I've been wanting to talk to you about this, Bob. I really would love for you to go to Israel and spend a little time with her. She's been asking.
But I got Kelly, and things are going good.
Kelly?
Yeah, my wife.
I love the videos you guys do, the food videos.
Oh, God.
They're
She
great.
just, that's, again, what quarantine will do to a person.
Yeah, you started becoming a chef. I saw that.
Well, that's not, it's just ridiculous. She just said, come in here. You're going to make a fluffy omelet. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Next thing you know, I'm in a TikTok every 12 minutes, But I'm in my office and I'm trying to get work done. And she's amazing. Kelly's great at this stuff.
No, she really is good. And I love how everything keeps growing for her Instagram page, and she's doing very well. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, she's doing really well, and her company is growing, her Eat Travel Rock company. And May is also doing really well. She's beautiful.
Pastry chef. Thank you. She does pastries, amazing stuff. But she's very young. This is just her hobby right now. She loves to do it. She does a little modeling, and she's trying to find her place.
Right, as we all did.
Yeah, of course, at that age.
Which brings me to this question. How old is May? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah, of course. She's 21.
I remember that day.
Yeah, I actually don't. I thought about it. I was like, do I remember turning 21? And I don't.
Is that because you were getting into places when you were 16?
No, actually, that's a funny story because, I used to be, in the nightlife, but I did not go out until I was 21. I went out once when I was 18. My dad forced me to go to a club. I hated it. He thought I was weird.
Why would your dad force you to go to a club?
Because all my brothers would go out and be out and about, and I would just play basketball and come home. And then I guess my mom and dad spoke, and he was like, well, something's going on with Danny. I mean, I'm going to take him to a nightclub. And he told me to get dressed. I wore a white Miami Vice suit with a green t-shirt underneath. And I folded, and we went to this club called the Underground, and they wouldn't let us in, me and my friend. And my dad got mad. He walked up to the bouncer and gave him $100, and they let us in. So
That's
I'm
magic.
in this club. Yeah, I'm in this club. By the way, I'm 5'7" now. I was probably 5'1", and I'm like this, and there's music and loud and people, and I was like, "What?" I didn't like it, and I left. I think like 20 minutes later. I mean, it's funny because years later I started working in nightlife, and then I was in a club every day, going, "Yeah, this is great."
Right this way, and all your friends. You've met so many people that are your dear friends now.
Oh, yeah.
In that world, and we know a lot of the same people, but we didn't meet. We didn't become close until a stand-up guy.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of met you in passing here and there, but really we got to know each other from a stand-up guy.
But I didn't know you from the club days when I was double your fiance's age, and I was divorced then. So I started to go out at like 42 years old, 43, with my friends. And then I became friends with Mike Young, who was a mutual...
Single Mike.
Not single anymore.
Well, yeah, I know. But single Mike back in the day, in the club days, was a lot of fun.
It's hilarious. And I think he'll still be able to go out. I mean, I think she's a lovely girl, and I think she'll want to be part of, because what I love about Mike is when you see some guys out in the past 10 years, 20 years, if you could have canceled people at the door back then, you would have done it because they were predators. But not Mike, not you.
Mike is the sweetest. Mike is the sweetest guy.
So Danny, you worked through a lot of this time getting ready to shoot a movie that you gave me to read, and I read it, and I loved it, and it's called I Love Us, and it's out right now. It just came out, and it's just a beautiful story. It's not like anything you ever did.
I know. I thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, people always ask me what my favorite movie is. I have two favorite movies. I can't pick between both: Forrest Gump and The Family Man. And
Yeah.
what I love about The Family Man is just about a guy who reminded me of myself. You know, single, a little older, successful, and he thinks he's got life by the balls, and just dates a supermodel, and he gets a glimpse of his life, what it would have been like if he married his college sweetheart, and the movie, and
Yeah, and in fact, Kelly, I saw it when it came out, forgot about it, and then I watched it with Kelly because it's one of her favorite movies.
yeah.
And it really is about priorities and redemption and finding out what matters and how important love is.
Yeah, I mean, all those things, and the joy that he had in the home. The home felt like there was energy in it, and the kids and family and the wife, even though they were struggling. When he went back to his apartment, and it was this beautiful big loft, he was there by himself, and he realized that life is what I was trying to say in this movie. I Love Us is life is success is not necessarily what you think it is until you actually see all perspective of it. And being successful doesn't necessarily mean you have to be rich or make money. Success can just be happy and be content with what you have and really enjoy the people around you. And you can have all the money in the world, but be it by yourself, and it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. And we both know a lot of people that do have what people think is all the money in the world. Often it isn't what people think because they're hiding it or haven't paid their taxes.
Yeah, I mean, someone who's got, a good thing going with his business, but nothing else. I mean, he spent all this time trying to build his business, and then when he looks back, I mean, he forgot about life. So this movie is really about a guy that has the opportunity to, see that, and where does he make that decision and that choice of like what he wants really for himself at that point in his life.
And who wrote the script and how did it get to you?
So I came up with the story in my, during COVID. I started thinking what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do something different. I had all these movies that were gangster movies like Mobtown and The Irishman and Lansky.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to stay away from that. I want to do something different. And I thought about this concept, and my composer, Lionel, introduced me to this writer. And I loved his writing. And I spoke to him and I said, look, this is just an idea. I mean, maybe we can start, working on it since we have nothing else to do. And that's where he came from. His name is Costa. He's based in Canada. He's actually coming on Friday. The premiere is Monday, and they'll get to enjoy it. It's his first movie. He's a great writer. You read the script. He's a great writer.
I couldn't believe. I mean, you read a script, but when you read it and you go, "Wow, this is wonderful," and it sews up a lot of loose ends. A lot when you read a script and you go, just when you're thinking about something, that's the next thing that's in the script. Then you go, wow, he's right where I'm at as an audience because he's leading the way.
Yeah, thank you. The pace of the way, and you want to hear something funny, Bob? This is the first movie I've been involved in that we actually used every scene that we shot. Usually I go and I'm like, I don't need this. I'll move this faster. And then I take a scene that was supposed to be at the end. I put it in the beginning because this was literally the way it was written exactly. And when I looked at it, the assembly cut, obviously I started working on the performances and everything. I was like, there's nothing I can cut. It just works. It just continues. And everything is so important. It glues everything in. And it came in at 92 minutes. So it's not like, it's great. I'm really proud of this movie, and I'm really excited for people to see it.
And they can see it now in a lot of platforms, right?
It's in theaters and on all the platforms: Amazon, iTunes, Apple, all that.
Right.
You can find it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because when you go back to the evolution of you, I mean, so you're 21, you're in a Miami Vice suit, you reject the club life, and then, of course, you make a movie, Club Life.
Yeah.
And how old were you? That was, I'm looking at all your movies here. I mean, you've got, damn, Danny, your IMDb is frightening to me. Club Life is in 2015. I
Mhm.
worked with you on a Stand-Up Guy in 2016 that our buddy Mike directed. You had been in The Wolf of Wall Street in 2013. You'd been in The Iceman. You've been in so many movies. Are you friends with Sandler? How did
I am
that go?
I am friends with Sandler. I love Sandler. I play
Yeah,
basketball with him,
it's
and
hard not to.
he's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. Always
He's
been,
loyal too.
yeah, he's so supportive of me and just a great friend. And a funny story is I met him and I told him I want to get into acting. And he said, "Hey, why don't you come? I'm doing this movie. You don't mess with the Zohan. It's about Israelis. You'll fit right in." All right, so I was like, okay. I'm like a glorified extra in it, but I got to be on sets for a month and I just watched everything like a hawk. Before I did anything else, this was 2007, before I shot Holy Rollers. And I just watched and kind of paid attention to everything and learned so much. And he's always just been supportive of me. And yeah, I mean, look, a lot of the movies I did in the beginning were just friends who were like, "Oh, why don't you come and do a scene here and scene there?" And I got to understand what it's all about, how to do it. And when I was ready, I went and I did Holy Rollers. That went to Sundance. That was my first movie. I produced it. I acted in it. Got Jesse Eisenberg to star in it. And once I did that, I was like, I mean, my first movie goes to Sundance and gets great distribution. I'm going to do this, and it was just, now it became a transition. Like, how do I separate from the club stuff that I've done for so long, and I was able to make a living, to this? That was challenging, and but I kind of figured it out. So,
Well, there's a producing aspect to it. I mean, well, just so people are clear and they understand, your last name is pronounced Abeckaser, correct?
Abeckaser.
I'll never know it. I'll never know your name. That's why I love Danny A. In the podcast notes, it's going to say Danny A.
Yeah,
and then Abeckaser, which sounds like a name of Purim. It sounds like I actually have. Say the word Haman. This is for a very small audience.
Haman.
I always have a grogger because you never know.
Grog.
That's the bleep button. I just lost 92% of the audience, but we'll get them right back. So but you were like one of the guys. You're from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You got a billion siblings. You are seven.
Seven. Yeah.
And you were in the middle somewhere.
One before last.
Oh, so everybody's doing okay through this world?
Yeah, I mean, I lost my brother that you helped so much all the time, and I thank you. I lost him about almost 2 years now to cancer.
And that's your wonderful charity,
Yeah.
Rhonda's Kiss.
Yeah, Rhonda's Kiss. Yeah, so we're fighting the fight,
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people, and you hear it now more than ever, between COVID and then you go, well, what did they die of? And they go, cancer. But then near the end, they also got COVID. You hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's like the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. Even when, because, I've lost two sisters, and it's, no matter what you do, the pain for everybody listening, most people have had loss. And younger people, sadly, also, many have. And there's different stages of the grief. I mean, it's been 30 years more, for God, since my younger sister died. Both older than me, but 6 years older than me. But she died at 34. And there's different stages of missing her. Here I am, 3 decades later, and missing her terribly.
Yeah, it's missing her, and it's just like sad that it happened to him. It didn't deserve it. I'm sure, obviously, your sister didn't deserve it.
No, she was innocent.
Yeah, and it's just not fair. And I hate injustice, and this is an injustice that I can't control. But I I think about him. I think about his kids. I try to be the best uncle I can. It's like it is what it is.
How are they doing?
They're good. They're the youngest is really young, so I don't think he really understands it yet. But the girls, they miss him, and I try to step in and be, they need tickets to a concert. Uncle Danny's here, right? Bob is performing somewhere. They want tickets. I try to do it. I mean, as much as I can to try to, make them feel like, they could, they would have went to their dad if they wanted tickets, and so, and just speaking to them, making sure they're okay. And it's something that is going to stay with them for the rest of their life. It's a part of who they are. So.
And they'll be surprised as they go through life, as we all are. I have friends that lost their parents at 10, at 12, at 14. It's life. And the thing I was attracted to you at first was your height. And then second.
Yeah, everyone is. I got to tell you.
It's true. There's something very endearing about a guy that literally, you get the feeling when you first meet you or watch you, that you can get anything done, not just tickets.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know where it might be the hair.
It's the hair. It's the hair on the chest. It's the
tan.
You are so tan. I'm good. At night, if your car breaks down, I'm good to have on the road just so people don't hit you.
Yeah, I'm pretty tan, and I love it.
So, but you've worked your ass off. You love to relax. You obviously love the sun.
Yeah.
But you literally always worked. You were a night worker for how long would you say this life in night spots and premieres and clubs and places? How long did that go?
My previous life was from 95 to 2015, like 20 years.
That's amazing. And that's amazing for people to hear, because there's people that are working in a place like that and they get caught up in a lot of stuff. They end up in drugs or with a real substance or alcohol abuse. And almost, it's so difficult to do nightlife. I mean,
oh my God, I was just thinking about it. It's look, my biggest thing was I always wanted to be an actor as a kid, and nightlife was just fun. And then I was really good at it, so it became a job and became business. And I was like, how do I say no to all this? But once I made up my mind, everyone thought I was crazy, and they were like, "What? You're Danny A. You run this whole city. What are you doing? Why would you go and audition for it? It doesn't make any sense."
But Suede just opened, Danny. What are you doing?
Hey, it's Fashion Week next week. What are you doing? It's. They thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy, but I knew that I was just going to be happier. And it goes back to what we were talking about. It really is just about being happy. I am the happiest when I'm on set making a movie, when I'm in the editing room. I just enjoy the whole process. I enjoy everything about it. And I wanted to see if I can actually do this for a living and actually, which I didn't realize was going to be this hard. It's really, really hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Breaking into this business is tough. I mean,
and sustaining.
Yeah. Look, I'm fortunate that I produce, and now I started directing, and I really enjoy it, and the acting. So it doesn't matter where it comes from, as long as I'm doing it. Acting was my first thing that I really liked, and whatever works for the movie, I would do. So the movie is the most important thing.
So you were still doing club stuff and premieres and Fashion Week and the art exciting festival in Miami. Basel. It's such a
no one sees any art.
No one. It's a celebration of art. Maybe that's like the guy that's the promoter. Art.
Yeah. His
But
name is Art Club. Art Club.
how did you go from there? What was the first thing that was the segue into the world that you really wanted to be in?
So I in 2005, I did a short film called Characters with my buddy Lucas Haas and Sarah Foster. And we were just playing and we did this small little short. And I enjoyed it so much. And I was like, wow, I always wanted to be an actor. I went on the audition stuff as a kid. I did music videos and all that stuff like everybody else. And I really loved it. And I said, oh, I would love to make now a feature film and see what I could do. In 2005, I found a story in the New York Times called Holy Rollers about Hasidic Jews that would smuggle ecstasy from Amsterdam to New York for this Israeli gangster. And I thought, wow, what an interesting story. I bought the rights to the story and I hired a writer. I called a friend of mine who had a production company. He financed the script for me. He was like, all right, it sounds like a good idea. And we wrote the script. Antoni Messia wrote it. And I hired the director of my short to be a producer on it. He ended up directing Holy Rollers because he really wanted to, and he did a great job. And then it took me 4.5 years to raise the money, $1 million. It was so funny.
Welcome.
Yeah, it was so funny to me because to raise $1 million to open a nightclub, it takes me a day or two. Right. Because that's what I knew how to do. Everyone knew that if but to raise $1 million to make a movie, it was a nightmare. I had Jesse Eisenberg, I had Justin Bartha, Ari Grainer, Q-Tip, Mark Ivan, a great cast. Eisenberg was like a indie darling, and no one would give me $1. I went to a meeting in LA, and they were like, "Oh, ecstasy, yeah, I love that. Let's make him a surfer from Malibu." I'm like, "No, you don't get the movie. It's about faith. It has nothing to do with ecstasy. He just happens, Anyway, it took my friends, and I loved them, and I'm so close to them to this day to really believe in me. And they were like, "All right, look, here's the deal. I'll give you a little bit of money if you put your own money into this and really show that this is really what you want to do." So I put everything that I had at the time into it. My director's mom put money into it. We all chipped in, and we made Holy Rollers with a lot of love and passion. And then it gets into Sundance, and we're in competition, and my director wins Breakthrough Director of the Year, and at the Gotham Awards, he wins Breakthrough Director of the Year at the DeVille Film Festival. And I'm like, oh my God, I really know how to do this, right? And I thought from that moment on, everyone's going to be like, Damien, let's make a movie. But once that was done, I went back to trying to make another movie. And you know how that is. It's one of those businesses that you just got to keep on grinding.
That's the other thing is people don't realize, and there's a bunch of inspirational people. There's a lot of negative out there, but there are people that are talking to the youth, especially and a lot of people in showbiz don't want new people to come in. They have an attitude of, we don't need any more. Right. Yeah. YouTuber. But the truth of it is it can come from anywhere and anybody. I mean, I would assume since you had so many movies that you were part of that had to do with, the Godfather of it all, the Al Pacino movies, I mean, all of them, and De Niro. I would say those were your heroes.
Getting to be in a movie with those guys was literally like I cannot think of, up until that point, I never thought I would ever be there. And being on stage, I remember showing up to the Irishman premiere. I'm only in the movie for 2 scenes,
But you're really good, and it looked like that they just do their thing because they're always. You can use their stuff that's on the cutting room floor in the movie. Yeah,
it's so good. And I remember being at the premiere in LA, and the publicist from Netflix is like, "Hey, Danny, so Marty's gonna call you up on stage, so I need you to." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And I remember Bob standing there in the green room as they're calling everyone on stage, and I look behind me, and it's Keitel, Pesci, Pacino, and De Niro right behind me, and I'm standing there, and they keep calling names, and people are clapping. in that moment, I said to myself, whatever happens from now on, I'm good. This is just incredible. I mean, I never thought it would ever happen, and it did. And so for me, I'm not going to say I reached where I wanted to reach, but I kind of like am very content to where I am. People say, "Oh, I can't wait till you have that breakout role or that breakout movie." I'm like, I'm just happy I get to make a movie. And if people get to see it, then that's great. As long as it helps me make another one, I don't look at success as like being famous in Nebraska. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey,
Yeah, people want that. People want fame and celebrity, and that is a futile quest. It's and I know from experience, it ain't fulfilling unless you love waving in a mall.
Absolutely. Look, I say that, thank God, because of my previous life, I get a reservation in New York, LA, Miami.
Right.
I'm Vegas. I think I'm good. I don't need to go to Nebraska and have somebody go, "Hey, I really liked you." It would be nice to be.
It's nice. It's really nice when people.
But I'm saying it's not really what it's about for me. What it's about for me is that I get to actually make these movies, and I get to do what I love. And for me, that is the biggest success.
Yeah. And you have a lot of people that you love. You're very family oriented. A lot of people love you. You have a huge number of really good friends.
Thank God. Yeah, I'm very
cool. And then ones that weren't, you got rid of them.
Yeah. Actually, that's very true. I'm very loyal, and I'm very what you see is what you get. And I thought that I should expect that from everyone. I'm starting to realize as I get older that not everyone's like me, and I have to kind of like figure it out. And people do deserve second chances, and I'm trying to work on that myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are, and especially during this past 2 years that have been so insanely challenging. For me, it set me on a different path to even care more about people. Or if I love someone and I haven't seen them, one of the things I love about doing this podcast is I get to connect with friends. I mean, would you and I sit on a FaceTime and talk for over an hour?
30 seconds. Hey, right. Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, say hi to Kelly. Yeah,
exactly. I'd be waving and going, boy, your gal looks gorgeous. But I mean, but we like to see each other too. And that's something we have to do.
We haven't gotten to see each other since this whole COVID thing.
No.
Our famous dinners.
They're fun as hell. And that's the other thing that some people are understandably are going, well, I don't care about the disease. I'm having a big party. And then I just go, well, let's cross our fingers, that.
I can't. I will go to a restaurant and sit outdoors. I can't. My anxiety would not allow me to sit indoors, and then just dealing with thinking about everything. It's just, I can't.
Yeah. And I'm out on tour, so I'm masked. I don't have visitors backstage. I hit the stage, but if I'm in a comedy club, in certain places, a lot of people have masks on. In some places, they don't. I'm not putting the vaccine and mask mandate on people that are coming out to laugh, but I make sure.
How far?
I'm pretty far. Usually it's 10 to 12 feet from the front row. They've moved back a lot of front rows for me. But I get scared of people in the room. But it's funny because of social media, I get the aftermath of a gig saying, thank you, whatever city. And they go, we had the best time. I got COVID the next day from anyone. And they would tell you, people would say something. And that's the slippery slope that we're on now. So you went through with I Love Us. That was your first COVID protocol movie, right?
Yeah, it was. It was tough. I remember speaking to you about it, and you were very concerned about what's going to be on set. And to be honest with you, Bob, we spent 35% of our budget on COVID. I mean, we got tested every other day. We had COVID inspectors, and we had children on set, and we were very, very careful. And it was very, very challenging. I'm not going to lie to you. Shooting a movie during COVID, I don't know if you have yet, but
I did one in the Cayman Islands, but they put you in quarantine, and there's no cases on Grand Cayman, and they put you in jail if you go off a quarantine.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Great. So yeah, so that was very challenging. I was directing and I'm the lead in the movie, so I have to take the mask off to act and then put it back on, watch the monitor, interact with the actors, take it back off. But it was very hard. But again, you have to love it so much that you do it. But protecting everyone was the number one rule. I mean, in the first day of pre-production, my line producer John Brewer, who ended up producing the movie with me, was like, Danny, look, I'm telling you right now, it's got to be my way. And I was like, it's all yours. Whatever you say, you're the boss. It's like, so he really was, really strict about it. And thank God we got through it. Nobody got sick, and we got through it. It was great.
And you also did it. Do you think because of the masks and the safety that you watched playback less than you normally would?
Well, what I did was I had a floater, right? So they brought me the floater. I would not want to take the time to go to the monitor and have people around me. So they would bring me the floater. If I was doing a scene and sitting down, they would just bring it to me. I would watch the monitor in the first take, give my notes. And at that point, I like to think that I have kind of like a photographic memory. I kind of understand what I saw and what I need different. And then I would never actually move to the next scene until I saw the last take and see that I have everything.
And sometimes you go, or I go, let's just shoot. It takes longer time to talk about whether to shoot it than to shoot it. So let's not spend 20 minutes discussing.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, it's so hard. You're limited. Your producers are all over you. Like, we got to move if you want to get the sundown shot. And it's such a lot of pressure. But with all that said and done, making this movie, I hope you can come on Monday. I really do. I really want you to see this. It's really, really, really good.
Let me go through my thing. I don't want to do it now, but we should do our scheduling now.
Yeah. No,
but I would. And Monday, right now, they're hearing this has already happened because there is a delay on this. And I want to tell you, I had the best time on Monday at your premiere.
Thank you so much. It was great to see you. You look great. Kelly looks great. Thank you.
She looks beautiful. And God, that suit, that Miami Vice suit with that.
I had to bring it back for the premiere. I had to bring it back.
So, Danny, you've acted in, is it seven? How many damn things is this? Actors, 26 movies, it says here. And director of 4 movies. The most recent is out right now, I Love Us. Blackjack, the Jackie Ryan story, you got to put in your love of basketball.
Yeah, that was a dream come true.
Because you were, as you said earlier, that was your thing you would do rather than go to clubs.
I would honestly rather be a basketball player, a professional basketball player, than anything else in the world. President of the United States, anything. It's my favorite thing in the world to play and to watch. And getting to do this movie, I mean, nobody wanted to make this movie. My investors were like, what are you thinking? I mean, it's so difficult. And, this is 1990. How are you going to pull this off? And but I got to do it. And it was a dream come true. And I love the movie. It's unfortunate that the movie came out during the pandemic. We didn't really get to do the press we wanted on it. We didn't really get to do the premiere we wanted. It is out everywhere. People are seeing it, but it didn't get the impact that I wanted. But I love the movie. It's a Jackie Ryan, Blackjack. It's great.
Do you get to play basketball during this time? Do you go and meet people?
So I have a basketball court in my backyard, a full court, thank God, that I always dreamed of having. And when I bought the house, I built a basketball court. And I used to have games all the time. During COVID, obviously nothing. And I would shoot around by myself. I would just go out there and shoot. My jump shot is incredible, by the way. After 12 months of just shooting every day. But lately, I have games outside. I ask everyone on the chat, are you vaccinated? If they are, then invite them, and we try to get a couple of games. We've had 3 or 4 games, and I'm trying to get one for this weekend.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't. I had to play basketball in a TV movie once, and every time I would do a layup, for some reason, my legs would go up and I would kick myself in the ass. And they told me there's a Russian player that did Popov or something.
Hey, Popov, yeah.
And that he would do a layup like that, but I was like, it couldn't be more awkward. I could make the layup, but we ended up I was an EP on it. So in editing, it was like we had to move in on the picture so you could not see that my heels of my feet are kicking me in the ass.
I love to see that.
Yeah, now. Then you go. I'm going backwards now. From Jackie Ryan, you had Mobtown in 2019.
Yeah. That was my biggest success up to date. I think I Love Us, I'm hoping would break it, but Mobtown was something that I've always loved mob movies, as you know, and this story came about. I've been reading about it for years. The Appalachian meeting in '57, and I called my buddy David Arquette, and I was like, Davey, I need you. And he was like, oh, okay, send me the script. And once he jumped on, we went to New York, upstate New York, and Newburgh, and we shot it. And that movie's everywhere. I mean, I go on airplanes till this day. I go on airplanes and it's playing. It's on Showtime. I turn on the TV, it's on, and it's like, it's a mob movie, but it's told through the eyes of a cop, who stumbled on this big meeting that happened in '57. It's a true story. And yeah, I loved making that. And, my friend, Nick Cordero, was our friend he was in a Stand-Up Guy, was in it. And unfortunately, he passed COVID. He became like the COVID poster child of this whole thing.
I didn't know that, Danny.
Yeah. Nick Cordero, he was in a Stand-Up Guy with us. He passed. He was like, the first big thing that happened in COVID, it was him. He was a Broadway star. He was a star of a Bronx Tale on Broadway, of Waitresses. He's a big Broadway actor, and I asked him to be in my movie.
I didn't.
Yeah, he was in a Stand-Up Guy. Yeah, and he was on the cover of People magazine. Nick. He passed. He had a beautiful son. He has a beautiful son, Elvis. So we did that Mobtown, and I loved every moment of that movie. And I'm in it, and it's funny.
And can you say what kind of budget Mobtown was?
We like to come in between the $1 and $2 million budgets. I can't really give you because it varies, but that's the sweet spot that we're in. And because
the producers know they're going to get their money, and the investors know they're going to get their money back.
Well, it's a whole calculated thing. You do the tax incentive states, and you get 30%. Some states are rebates, some states are tax incentive, and you get it back in 18 months. So you're getting back a lot of money. And at that place, if you have people, recognizable names like yourself, David Arquette, you get Harvey Keitel, people that we've been able to get. Producers know that at that point it's a sweet spot to get money. It's very challenging to make the movie at that budget, but but we work our butt off and we pull it off.
Can you use Bed Bath & Beyond coupons?
I wish. No, it's locations, housing, actors, talent. That's where most of the money goes. And now with COVID, it's very challenging.
Yeah, because if you choose a location and you're in a house, you got to do a COVID sweep. They've got to do everything. It's unbelievable what has to be done now, and it should be done. I mean, you got to have safe conditions for people.
Well, you have to get the house 2 days before. So you're paying those 2 days. Then you have another day that you need to do cleaning. So on a shoot that you have 3 days of the house, you're paying for a week, and you know how expensive it gets.
Yeah, and you didn't, before pre-COVID, that wasn't necessary. You could go in that day, Put on booties, not put a hole in a wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a different world that we're living in.
Now, did you have to, just back to I Love Us, did you have to shut down at all because someone got sick?
No, thank God.
That's a miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
You had a miracle.
We were very, very, very strict. I mean, we had no visitors. And if somebody, like we had this one actress that her husband wanted to come visit. He's a very well-known guy and he's a good friend of mine. And I was like, listen, you have to go get tested. Once you come back with the results, then we would be able to let you on set. So, I mean, no one can just come and hang out on set. So we did not let anyone in and we kept it very, very tight and people stayed, you have your sections. You have A section, B section, C. So, the grip guys are in the A section because they have to be actually on set. But, makeup artists, they do their thing and they stay back. And, and wardrobe, same thing. And only if they're needed on set, then they would, call them in. But yeah, we're very, very, thank God. And I know a lot of people are trying to be strict and things happen on set.
It's been happening more than not. I mean, because there's a surge, as you know.
Yeah.
And we know a couple people that are shooting right now that they've had to shut down for a while. And then the answer is, I don't know when we're coming back. Hopefully in a couple of weeks. It's just been bizarre.
And holding your actors, it's just a nightmare, especially if you're on location.
Yeah. Well, then the fourth movie I have here is First We Take Brooklyn in 2018.
I love this movie. I got to work with Harvey Keitel. I got to direct him.
This is the first movie that, besides the short, that you.
Yeah, I didn't direct my short, but this
that's right. Okay.
This is the first movie I directed. First We Take Brooklyn. Me, Anna Lynn McCord, Harvey Keitel, this is something I wanted to make. I play an Israeli gangster. Growing up in Brooklyn, seeing all these characters, and for me it was fun. I love the movie.
And you produced. Now, there's a whole different thing on here.
Oh,
you produced a lot. I mean, you've acted the most. This is all off of IMDb, which is a lot more reliable than Wikipedia. Because Wikipedia, I've had to go in and change. Those are not my parents' names. Could you please change them? But you produced 12 movies. All of these movies, and I got to be with you on a Stand-Up Guy, and it was our first experience together. And I think watching you work and watching your conviction to doing something which is, you're not a stand-up comic, but you have that personality and ability anyway, because you're kind of life of the party, kind of a person that knows how to hold court. And
thank you. It was honestly, Bob, I give you so much credit. People always ask me what the hardest role was. And honestly, it was a Stand-Up Guy because Mike wanted me to go and do like open mic somewhere. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. And I tried.
I would have gone to see you do open mic.
Oh, God.
And so Mike is Mike Young, our friend. He directed a Stand-Up Guy.
He wrote it, and directed.
And he wrote it, yeah.
I brought a bunch of people over and I did my bid. And no one laughed. But when you're at a dinner table and people have a few drinks, they give you the courtesy laugh. But when you're sitting there and, they don't know your personality really, and they don't really know you, so they don't really understand where it comes from. And you tell them a story. I told stories. I didn't tell jokes. No one laughed, Bob. Not one crack. Like this. I got this. And I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. This is terrible. But
it happens to stand-ups that are professional stand-ups as well.
Yeah,
but
it's
usually,
so hard.
Well, where I'm at in my career, they come in knowing you. So that's where it's wonderful to be known because they already know who they're looking at.
Yeah, of course. But also, you also understand what the general audience already is kind of looking for and what kind of gets them. I told stories that are just from my personal life,
right, which can work if it hits a note in them. But to be a real stand-up in the world today, and I've been doing it for 45 years, something nuts, is to be able to change as things change.
Yeah.
So my stand-up now is completely different. I mean, I'm a different person. You would hear some of the same cadences, but But what you did was you were pretty damn brave. I mean, I said to Mike, "What's this scene?" And he goes, "I don't know, Dan. He's just gonna go off. He's just gonna do it."
I mean, look, I remember the first cut of the movie, and we realized that I need that big stand up. Like, this is what I do. And I remember being so nervous. I was like, how am I gonna even pull this off? And Mike wrote it, and I rehearsed it, and then I just went and shot it. And it gets a few laughs. You know, some people tell me, honestly, and I told this to Mike, is people really like this movie. They really enjoy it. They think it's funny. You know, movies are funny because there's so many good movies out there. It's just no one knows about them. And I realized that the marketing is just as important. Putting the energy in the marketing is just as important as actually making the movie. So on I Love Us, I'm all in. I'm calling it, Bob, are you coming to the premiere? You know, I'm calling everybody because the premiere is like, you know, your Instagram, and the world is different. You know, it's like the word of mouth thing is not as powerful as it was when with Instagram, because with one click you reach 2 million people, and you know.
Yeah.
You know how long it takes for 2 million people to tell each other.
They only tell each other on. They don't text. They just send it to other people on Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and to be able to do a live premiere is also pretty amazing. And there's been a few of them. They had a wonderful one for Ted Lasso for the launch of the new season, and that thing's a juggernaut. That thing went and changed television. Do you have a desire to do a streaming series? Is there some, and do you have something in the works? Are you going to do a 10 episode arc of mob life continued?
Oh, I would love that. See, the thing is with independent films is that I can actually go and make them and don't need to rely on a showrunner. And that's the biggest challenge with doing a TV show is it doesn't matter who the producer is. They need a good showrunner, and to find a good showrunner is very, very difficult. So I haven't tapped into that yet. I haven't really. I have a couple of ideas. I would love to, to turn Holy Rollers into a TV show. I think it would be great. That was Hasidic Jews. Unorthodox is doing so great on Netflix. I just haven't really tapped into it yet. I'm hoping to. And I will.
You do great at it, because you're tenacious. You don't stop.
I mean, honestly,
there's no reason to. It's almost like you're playing basketball with your career. You just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Bob, for me, I'm getting to a point where I do need kind of like a little hit because it's so hard to continue to go and raise money and do these movies. I'm hoping that I Love Us hits at least to the point where things will start coming to us and make it just a little bit easier because it's very difficult. I'm never going to stop, but it's really about just like, when is that one going to come? So you just continue. And then, people that don't pay attention, all of a sudden you have one little hit and it's like, Danny, what's going on, buddy? Listen, I want to talk to you. I got this thing. And it's just that it takes that one thing. Now, look, we've had success because we made some money with Mob Town and a few of our movies, Club Life. But we were really looking for that one indie hit, something, and not a festival hit, something that people just go, this is great. I didn't know about this, and get the word out, especially in the industry.
Well, it all helps too, and people sometimes don't understand. And when people say, well, it's just a small part I had, but if you're in a movie like The Irishman or Wolf, they always say to me, Bob, there's no small parts. I go, oh, yes, there are.
No, but honestly, being in The Irishman really helped me. Talking about things that took me to the next level. So now my manager and agent can honestly, since The Irishman, can get me a meeting, or they try to get me a meeting with anyone. Because, they're going to look, Marty, I had him in The Irishman, so at least I get the audition or I get the meeting. So that really helped.
Do you have any stories with Marty or De Niro or Pacino? Is there anything that
I'll tell you, the first day on set of The Irishman, I was so nervous. I was in my trailer and knock. hey, Danny, they're ready for you. And I was like, okay. I'm walking to set. It's a block away. I'm walking to set with the PA. And I'm looking down and I'm kind of like thinking, oh my God, what the hell did I get myself into? Oh my God, what the hell did I get myself into? And as I'm thinking this, I pick my head up and there's Marty right there. And he's like, hey, Danny, how you doing? What's going on? How you feeling? Hey, you know Bob, right? Bob, you know Danny. And he starts explaining to us. And I look and there's 5,000 people standing there, just like fans, I guess. And just being there and listening to the way Marty was kind of like explaining the scene. He's like, all right, listen, so you're Louis, you're a deadbeat, you owe everybody money in the neighborhood. And Bob, he's Frank, he has a gun, he kills people. You guys figure it out. And he walks away. I got to tell you, my whole life, I've been the biggest Scorsese fan in the world. I love this man. I love him as a person. Now I got to meet him and spend a little time with him. But to me, he's just genius. And just to be on set and listening to him direct and the way he directed me, and he told me to do a few things, he said, because I kept saying, I swear to God, I'll have it tomorrow. I swear to God, I'll have it tomorrow. So, and the next scene with Bobby Cannavale, he told me, he's like, don't tell Bobby this. I want you to start the scene with, I swear my mother, I'll be here tomorrow. And doing that, and Bobby being like, that's not your line. And I was like, oh, well, Marty told me to do that. Just those little things, what stays with me the whole time, and having Marty actually direct me. I know that some people, to them, they want to understand it. To me, it was a dream come true. And those are my favorite stories about, Marty. And Bob was the greatest. He kept punching me. And after every take, he'd be like, hey, I'm sorry, Danny, I'm sorry. I go, Bob, I waited 40 years to get punched by you in the morning. Scorsese. So fine. Just keep punching. So yeah, that to me, those are the best stories.
My interactions with him are not a lot of them, but they've always been hilarious and wonderful. And he would see me do stand up, and we roasted Don Rickles one night, and I got off stage, and as I get off, he's like, "Oh, that was very funny." And then he did the face,
Yeah. I watched them roast Rickles. I actually had dinner with Rickles' manager's daughter a couple of nights ago, and
with Tony O's daughter.
Yeah, Kelly, I think her name is.
Oh my God!
And we had dinner with a couple of friends, and I told her the story. I said, I love when De Niro and Scorsese roast him, because De Niro goes, and he always brings up Frank. Frank's dead. How about that? He died years ago. Yeah, me and Frank here, me and Frank there, me and Frank. I loved it. It was so funny.
Well, Tony O just wrote a definitive book on Sinatra, a really good one.
Really?
Yeah, because he was his tour manager, and then he became, I don't know if he never managed Frank, but he managed Don.
Yeah.
And took care of everything. And Tony is a good man, a really good man. And were you Rat Pack fascinated as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Ocean's 11. I'm fascinated by that whole culture. And Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra. I did a documentary celebrating Sinatra's 100th birthday, following Robert Davi around Davi's Way. We produced that, and I was dying to meet Jerry Weintraub, who did the last, the main event with Sinatra, 74 in Madison Square Garden. And I actually got to meet him a week before he passed at Medeo. He said, give me your number, kid. And I wrote my number on a piece of paper. All these great stories, for me, just being in this business and just getting to interact with these people, my idols like Marty and Bob. If I don't do another movie with Marty ever again, that experience alone was just, for me, it was just worth everything.
Well, the way he works, he likes to bring people back that he has a good thing with. And he doesn't forget people. I did a test for him for a show, and I was told by Ellen Lewis, his casting person, don't take any other work for a month or two, because this looks like it's your part. And they gave it to someone else that we all know and love. And I don't get upset at that at all because I go, oh, that's a better choice. I think that's a
I
smart.
was in the pilot. I was there.
Oh,
Pilot, yeah.
of vinyl you're talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
right?
I was in the pilot.
So it was Ray Romano, and he
Yeah,
was
it was great.
perfect in it,
Yeah.
perfect in it. And but Marty wrote me a note and said, "You were so great, and I just want you to know it. I would have totally gone with you. You're so talented, and I apologies. And I mean, you know, that's just a classy guy. So, and we had a mutual friend who was very close with him, and who's no longer alive. And I sent him my book, Dirty Daddy, to Marty, and said, "Well, if there's anything else you ever want to know about me," and he sent me another note back, thanking me for the book, which means that, you know, he's just, you know, you can't have more of a real deal than a guy like that.
No, you don't understand. Like after the premiere, I went over to him and I said, you know, Marty, I just want to thank you for letting me be in the movie. And he was like, "You were great. You were really, really good. You did such a great job." And I know that, again, some people might not understand it. For me, it's like, that's my idol. That's somebody I looked up to my whole life.
Yeah.
And for me, that just meant everything.
Well, he also wouldn't tell you that if he didn't mean it.
Yeah, oh, no, I mean, I'm sure. But yeah, just so you know, talking about all this just makes me think, like, this is why I love, you know, what I'm doing. This is, you know, you asked me the transition from the clubs to the movies. I'm just a huge movie fan and a film buff. I just love movies, and I love the people that make them, and just being a part and being able to do it, for me, is the biggest success.
That's, I think, what every actor would tell you is all they did was watch actors. And if it was theater, if it was, that was their roots. Or I'm always amazed at the people that made movies in the early 30s. And the only thing they had to go off of was Chaplin or, you know, the greats of silent. So those are the pioneers. You know, you watch Grapes of Wrath with Henry Fonda, and you go, oh my God, how is that so real and cut through so amazing? And it's almost like that acting is a school for how acting is at its best today.
Yeah, I mean, Brando changed the whole thing with you know, the method. You know, the bicycle thief in 47, I think.
Yeah, the secret.
One of my, it's just, oh, I mean, yeah.
I think that's almost everybody. Now, see, when I first met you, Danny, I thought you were Italian. And I'm sure that you hear that your whole life.
Yeah.
How do you explain yourself?
I grew up in Brooklyn. I have the Italian, the Brooklyn accent thing going, but they don't come more Jewish than me. I'm an Israeli Jew. My parents are from Casablanca, Morocco. Immigrated to Israel, and then we came here in '80 when I was a baby.
So they were Moroccan Jews.
Yeah.
What sect is that? Would that be?
Well, their grandparents are from Spain, and they migrated to.
Well, that's
Morocco.
If you're from Spain, hundreds of years ago, that's escaping, not migration.
Yeah, basically. So
my grandparents escaped from Russia because it was Cossack time.
Right. So Spain most of them moved to Morocco, a big Jewish community in Morocco. And then when Israel got its independence in 48, a lot of the Jews started migrating in mid 50s, and my parents were one of them in the late 50s, I think.
And they're not with us anymore, right?
My mom is here, yeah.
Your mom is, but your grandparents for sure.
Oh, no, they all passed.
But
my dad passed.
You remember them?
Well, I do. Old school. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, my dad's side, I never met my grandfather on my dad's side. He passed before I was born. But my grandmother on my dad's side, I remember her. She was at my bar mitzvah. And my grandparents on my mom's side, I remember my grandfather passed 20-some years ago, and my grandmother passed like 15 years ago.
Right. How did your bar mitzvah go? It was in Brooklyn, right?
No, it wasn't. We moved to the States, but I had my bar mitzvah in Israel in the Kotel. And then we had like a big party in a park.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you have all your friends? Were you able to have friends there?
No, I mean,
Family.
it was family, a few friends. I've moved out already, so I didn't have that many friends. But I remember going to Israel for the bar mitzvah. It was funny.
Do you ever see yourself living there? Do you ever see yourself?
You know, that's a good question. I spent so much time with May there the last year. Israel is beautiful. Tel Aviv is such an incredible city, and it's growing every day. If I had to like really think about it, I could see myself if I needed to. If May really wanted to spend more time there, you know, I would have to figure out what I'm doing with work. You know, I'd come back here. But it's beautiful. I love the beach and I love, you know, the sun. So in the summertime, the beaches are great there. The food is great. It's small. You know, I'm used to like being able to travel as much as I can. You know, it's a 15-hour flight to LA. So thinking about coming to LA for work is, you know, but yeah, I mean, I love the people and I have a lot of friends now. I have my family and my new family with May's family. So yeah, I can see myself.
You were, and I don't like talking about political stuff but human life and human rights. I believe in, you know, that we're all connected, even people that look at each other as enemies. But you were there during this horrible war.
Yeah.
What do you do mentally? Do you just stay connected? Do you pray? What do you do to go? Because you know that the thing is looked at and will always be looked at from different sets of eyes.
No, of course. For me, I pray every day. I put on tefillin every morning.
I never knew this, Danny.
I eat kosher and I put on tefillin every morning.
You eat kosher, but we go to restaurants before.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't eat any meat or chicken or shellfish. And in restaurants, I don't eat chicken or meat. Shellfish, I just don't eat in general. I would eat salads or pasta or vegan stuff. And I pray every day. I put on tefillin every day. You know, for me, it's like you just think. First of all, you're worried about your family and yourself, your well-being, but you think about like it's not necessary. You know, in my mind, the way I think is if you have something to live for, like a young person that has something to live for, you're not fighting. If you have the beaches, if you have nightclubs, you have community centers, you have sporting events to go to, you don't want to fight. You want to have a great life. And I think that what's happening is that, you know, they're suppressing so many people around the world, not just in that region, that they don't allow them to do anything. The only thing they could do is fight, and they don't even know what they're fighting for. They kind of like put them in that position. And I wish people would spend more time, politicians, on education and trying to create, you know, a little bit more of an understanding that, you know, if you build community centers and things for the youths to do, they would not want to fight. It's coming from suppression. You know, it's like you suppress them and they don't have anything to live for. If I had any say into this, I would put all the money, all the financial aid that the states give into education, educate people to understand what it is that actually is going on, you know. And once you have both sides, you can make your decision. And I would say, you know, what my understanding is, most people would pick, I want to have a nice life. I understand that there's differences, but as long as I am enjoying myself, my family, and why would I want to even go and fight? I think it's really just educating.
Well, and also we're looking at a place in the Middle East where, you know, it's doesn't seem ever solvable. I mean, we're talking about Israel just being formed in 1948. That's nothing ago. Yeah. And then we look at Palestine and how impoverished and how these poor kids in the middle of all this are watching their families being taken. And we all know it can start giant arguments, this conversation, but I don't want to do that. But it's just tragic that
it's all one big tragedy. You know, Israel.
it's all over, and it's just really, really sad because these are innocents. And where do they turn? If you lose your family, where do you turn? You keep a war going on forever. But you go there. Did you feel it when you were in Israel? Did you feel the tension? Did you?
Yeah. I mean, it's just your everyday life just halts, and it's like, you know, you just find yourself in a place where you're like, I can't believe this is happening. Not experiencing, you know, any of it ever because I grew up in the States. And just seeing what they go through on an everyday, you know, and this is their everyday life. You know, you walk into a mall, they check your bag 50 times. You know, it's like in these little things, you see people carrying, you know, guns in Israel everywhere. And you go, what's going on? I mean, it's just different, you know, but that's their reality. That's the way they live every day.
See, you're a prayer. So do you pray? You pray for peace in the Middle East somehow?
I pray for peace in the world.
Yeah, me too.
Every day. I pray for peace in the world. I pray for my friends, my family, and I pray that everyone gets to, you know, enjoy their life and enjoy their family. Because at the end of the day, you know, everyone wants to. I don't care where you're from and what your beliefs are. Everyone wants to have a nice life. You know, and it gets
and be alive and
enjoy every moment of it. So I pray that everyone just gets to enjoy their life
and their kids and their parents,
their family. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So look, you got all these projects that you did, so many movies. Is there anything besides The Irishman, Lansky with Harvey Keitel? So how did that come about?
You know, I've been a huge fan of Meyer Lansky my whole life. And one day I speak to a friend of mine, Eitan Rockway, and he tells me that his dad was actually the last person to interview Meyer Lansky in real life. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he actually wrote a book. It's called But They Were Good to Their Mothers. It's about Jewish gangsters. The name of the book is But They Were Good to Their Mothers. It's a great book. And there's a whole thing about Lansky there. I was like, I got to have a meeting with your dad. His dad is a professor, Robert Rockway at Tel Aviv University now, and met with him and his son. And I was like, I would love to do a Lansky movie and base it on your experience, you know, as the last person to interview him and what it was like. So we started the process. We got, you know, a writer, and we started writing it based on, all of the journals that his dad gave us. It took years to get made. You know, getting Keitel really, really helped, Sam Worthington, and getting that cast together. And we shot it in Alabama right before COVID hit. We wrapped in February and COVID hit in March.
Oh, my God.
So editing was during COVID on Zoom. So they imagine how difficult that was.
Yeah.
But the director did a great job. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. It's really good.
I did. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's where independent film works, you know, on telling a story about, and he did a really, really interesting performance. Really good.
Harvey's so good. Oh, so good in this movie. Yeah, I love the movie. The movie's doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been out now for 2 months.
Was it for theatrical release, or that's what it was for?
Yeah.
And then it got picked up.
Bob, you know, the theatrical releases now is just really for placements on all the platforms. You know, day and date in theaters now, you get to, you know, charge more money, and you get the banners, and you get, you know, it's a whole. I don't really think people go. You know, my movie I Love Us is in theaters. I'll have to figure out if people are actually going to see it in the theater.
Right.
But yeah.
That's the only place these days you can get real numbers.
Yeah.
No, if the theater owners aren't screwing you over, which hopefully doesn't happen that much, but we know it does. It has to. But then with the algorithms, you don't know what things are doing on.
Absolutely. My man Saget.
You just took a picture?
I'm taking a picture. I'm taking a video of you.
I'll send you better. I'll send you right from here.
I just wanted to have my little.
Well, I'll take a video of you then, if that's what we're going to
Please,
do.
let's video each other.
I mean, here we go. Let's just.
I mean, we are promoting a movie, Bob.
We are. There you are.
I'm recording you while you're recording me. I love us. I love us.
This is this is the clip I'm going to use to sell your movie.
Oh, me too. I'm definitely posting this, Bob. No, I like to have it so when it is some time to like promote it's coming out, I could just be like, hey guys, I went on Bob's podcast and you should check it out. It'll be out soon, the whole thing.
Well, I'll send you all the stuff as we send out assets. You get all that stuff.
I love it.
Now what Danny is you first thing I'm going to buy you some WD-40 for that chair. That's what
I'll stop moving.
In case people want to know, Danny does not have an artificial leg. That is the chair.
I'm going to stop moving.
You got to move first to fix the light. Well, last time we tried to do this, you were in Israel.
I was.
And it was hilarious. It was 1:30, it turned out to be 2 in the morning, but you kept trying. You're with your friend. You're on a laptop. No Wi-Fi. You're finally on a phone. It looked like you were literally in a bunker.
No, my friend brought me the computer, and Eliad, who does all the music on the movie on I Love Us, who's a great singer. He was like, "I can get this to work. Don't worry about it." And I was like, "Dude, I don't think it's gonna work." And it's like, "Well, he's got to sign in." And me and you are going back and forth, and you're like, "When is the movie coming out?" I'm like, "In a few months." We'll do it then. Don't worry about it.
It makes more sense. This is much better. Yeah. And we've only had a couple leaf blowers, a little creaky chair.
I think we're doing pretty well. You can edit around it.
I don't want to edit anything. This is gold.
Oh, this is gold. So
now, I just want to know what do you have on the horizon? What's in your head that you can't talk about that you want to? What's your later meeting about? Is it about a project?
Yeah, so we started pre-production on my next movie that you will get a call that I want you in it. By the way, just to be clear, I ask you to be in every movie that I do. One, I love you.
I love you too, Danny.
And two, you're a big name. So well, I gotta go to my name. Hey, what if I get Bob Saget? You get Bob Saget, that'd be great. So
can you get someone that looks like Bob Saget?
No, I need the Saget name. I need the Bob name in there. No, we're doing this movie. It's called the Gemini Lounge. It's based on a bar that was in Brooklyn that the most notorious killer for the mob ever. He owned it, and he's responsible for 200 murders. His name was Roy DeMeo, and
Is he alive?
No, he died. They killed him in 1983.
That's good news.
Yeah, that's great news. He was under the Paul Castellano or Gambino family, and he was just a psychopath. So we tell the story through the eyes of this cop that infiltrated the crew in this bar, and I'm really excited. We're going to go end of October, God willing, everything goes great. So my meeting is pre-production with the guys, start talking about cast, start talking about budget and locations, and Kyle Stefanski and John Brewer. They'll be here at 1.
Are you going to try to shoot in Brooklyn?
No, we're shooting in LA. So we want to get on the lot and use the New York lot, and downtown. And I shot Mobtown 1957. It's very challenging, but I think we could pull it off. This is late 70s, early 80s.
So it's really about cars and
a lot of it is like the old cars, the wardrobe, the hairstyles,
some telephones, couple TVs. You're fine.
Yeah, no, you can pull it off. It's really the most challenging is the exterior stuff and how you shoot, exterior, make it look like 1979. But there is places in downtown LA that really can pass for it. And, the Iceman was shot in Shreveport, Louisiana. Lansky was shot in Alabama, in Mobile, Alabama. It could be done. It takes a lot of time, a lot of work, but you can do it.
And then they shot that there for taxes?
Yeah, it's all tax and
right.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of something like that right now. It's a big thing, and the thing I'm working on is not that small a thing. So it's as a director. So it's a heavier time, and you got to hand it to people that can keep a safe environment and yet make something that people need because we really need this stuff.
Yeah, content right now. I mean, look, most people still go and do their dinner thing, but for the most part, a great movie or a great TV show or comedy show is what they go to, like, release at night, before they go to bed. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
No, I'm not going to do a release at night joke. Is it
Hey,
a quick release or is it
no, a real, a go-to thing to do. By the way, the
same?
lighting is so much better when I moved back a little bit.
You look really good. The lighting changed
Yeah,
tremendously.
yeah,
No, you had a lighting thing happen.
yeah.
It's the voice of God.
It is. It is. I like to think that. Yeah, so we're excited about this. I am going to try to get you in the movie, just so you know.
I'd be honored. And we'll talk because I want to go back to the '70s because I was such a good looking dude then.
Oh, you're still a good-looking dude.
No, man, I had a comb over. I actually am happier at 65 than I had a comb over and welding glasses. That's what I looked like.
And you're married to a beautiful, beautiful young woman.
I got a great.
You're very
Everybody's
lucky.
young compared to me, but she's actually one of the older people I've known.
My fiance is 21.
That's probably the same difference in age as far as years, probably.
Could be.
Was it like a 20-year difference? 20.
No, 27.
Oh, I'm a 23-year difference. And people look at that and they judge it. And I am really tired of it because, of course, young people would go, ew. But they don't, ew, and they'll put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But they don't understand. Let them live their life and see where they're at. It's wonderful if I could meet someone my age or a little younger or a little older that worked out. It wasn't for the lack of trying. Meeting Kelly was a gift, and so we were binging on a show that was canceled. It was called Manifest on NBC.
Yeah.
And she was watching it, and she said, "Do you want to watch my show?" I said, "Well, what's it about?" She said, "Well, there's an airplane." I said, "Oh," and I was wrong. I said, "You and your airplane shows, because she always likes to watch disasters, and I don't like simulated airplane things where it's all real tight shots and it just shows a guy by the window.
Especially if you fly so much, you're like,
no, I fly so much, but also they're not they're actors, but not actors. They're reenactment actors.
yeah.
And then this show I started watching. I go, why didn't you tell me it was about we're all connected and that it's about something greater than us, stuff that we don't understand. And I got so into it. So we've been binging, and we're on the third season. NBC canceled it. The fans got outraged. This is a gift you want in life, where people love your work so much, and they made it happen again. So Netflix are making 20 episodes for a fourth season. It might be a fourth and fifth. I don't know. But I just read on the third season, at the end of every episode, they put all COVID protocols were followed during this. And that might have had something to do also with the cancellation. I don't know.
Expensive. Yeah.
It's a high budget show, and the actors are fantastic, and the writing is so interesting, Danny, to do a streaming thing. And it's really, if it's done right, it's a 10 episode season. It's a long movie.
Oh yeah. I heard that some people now are doing TV shows in a way where they can actually make it into a movie if it doesn't actually work, or vice versa.
That makes sense, because you watch something that's 6 episodes, and that's the one season, or you watch, it's
so much money in TV. So it's like, if it doesn't work as a movie, you can maybe try to make it into a show. Yeah. Everyone's going through the challenges. The budgets are up. It's very challenging, but we're in it for the long run, right, Bob?
That is correct, because people need to be entertained. and they need to get their mind off of things, and they love the kind of movies that you've made and you're making because they take you either to a kinder, tougher time. I don't know. They take you back in time, or they're stories that reflect on people's lives and what
this particular one, I Love Us, is got something for everyone's family. There's a love, there's action in it. I really, really love this movie, not because it's my last movie and I'm trying to promote it. This is my favorite one.
This I Love Us, you would say, is your favorite movie you've ever made?
Yeah, Holy Rollers is my baby. It was my first one, but I Love Us is my favorite movie. I just think that I honestly think that people are really going to enjoy it. And that's my biggest thing now. I just want people to be aware of it because I really think they're going to really, really resonate with it and really, really like it. And that's the challenge, getting it out there.
Yeah. And then getting with a studio movie, they spend equal as we all know on prints and advertising and all that stuff. It's so different now. But you see a billboard because people are driving. I saw a friend's billboard for a project, and it was behind all the trees. I don't know what. I don't know. It was on Santa Monica Boulevard, and you could not see the billboard. It was covered in trees, and I thought they need their money back. That is.
I don't really know how the billboard really works. We've done so much research, and it really comes down to social media. Yeah. With social media, just gets the word out. We got over 1.5 million hits on the trailer so far. The music videos coming out. I mean, I cannot think of how I can reach so many people any other way. I mean, I know that TV ads, the trailers. People are still watching TV, but that's just so expensive. And, the audience is 1 million people, 1.5 million, so it's like, you get a couple of friends. Katie Cassidy has almost 3 million followers on her Instagram. She posted the trailer. It's, things like that. I mean, that's just the way we're going about it. But, word of mouth is going to play a big key in this. I think that people are really going to enjoy it.
No, I know they will.
My fiance is FaceTiming me right now.
Well, why don't you talk to her and tell her I said hey, and I love you, Danny.
Bob, I love you. You're the best. Thank you for having me on. I've been looking forward to this. I just love spending time with you, and getting to do this was great.
I couldn't agree more. I love you. I'm wishing you a happy and a healthy and a sweet new year.
Thank you very much. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. And may your fast be good.
Thank you, and easy.
Yeah, an easy fast, they always say. Yeah. I drink water. I'm not a guy that we suffered in the desert apparently. It was a long time ago.
You're supposed to suffer for 5 hours to make up for your sins.
That is the point. It is a lengthy it's a shortened Lent, although the 10 days of repentance. We're talking about Judaism right now. Oh, why did I lose so many people? But but I always think, and I've always felt this way, and I think about it as I grew up with Passover. And my dad did it too. He would add, how the Jews were in slavery and how they suffered. And he would add, and I would add with my kids, and how people all over the world are suffering. I would try to be a little more inclusive because we've been a persecuted people and still are. I mean, there's hatred everywhere, but there's also love everywhere. And
absolutely. Let's wish and hope and pray for a kinder world.
Much kinder for everybody. And I think once we can get through this COVID thing, I don't think it's the end of days. There's not locusts coming. Maybe some potato bugs, those little rodents.
I mean, it sure seems like it at some point. I mean, it's just.
I know. You see something happen. Oh, there's a new variant. All right. When are the locusts? When are they? Where are they?
I'm waiting for a big rock to just land on Earth and just like, it's just, you just don't, I'm enjoying every day.
There was a story years ago where a family was in Colorado. They were living here, big earthquake. They said, we can't take it anymore. We moved to Colorado, got a house by the mountains, and a big rock came down and crushed their house, and they all perished. And it's like, look, it's what you're running from. Sometimes you just can't. It's a bizarre thing. Fear is not good. Instilling fear is not good, and spreading love is good. So, and I know you come from a place of love, and I think that's why we became friends so quickly.
Absolutely. I think that a positive, outlook on life is the most important thing, and you're one of the most positive people I know.
I go through my phases,
Well, with me, I mean, everyone does, but every time we speak, it's always energetic and fun and good to see you, Danny. Those things go a long way, It just
well, that's who you are, and that's who I am, and that's why I love you. So
love you, Bob. Thank you
I
again.
love you. And by the way, your lighting right now is fucking off the charts.
Is it? Is it?
You're tan and handsome. I'm glad she's FaceTiming you now.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna take the call like this. Hey, baby, how you doing?
No, that's into the light. That's backlight. You want to do it this way.
This way.
Dude, I'm telling you. Other stuff.
How's the profile? Everything's good.
Handsome as hell. That's a movie profile.
I know.
You can't help it. You were born with it.
I mean, it is. I mean, it takes a lot of work. I gotta trim the beard. I gotta exfoliate.
Do you lotion? Do you do lotion on your face?
I do every day. I lotion. I really have dry skin. Dry skin.
That's not good.
Yeah, not good.
You should save it in a jar. Do you use suntan lotion? Because I worry about you in the sun.
No, I mean, no. I'm Sephardic.
That's the word I was when I said what sect. We're Moroccan and Spanish Jews. We're Sephardic. Yeah. Sephardic Jews had a Torah that was in a portable case. It was a case that would close because they had to travel because they were nomads trying to survive. So it was like a portable. It was like a laptop with the Torah in it.
Absolutely.
All right, you deal with May and give her my love.
I will. Say hi to Kelly. Great seeing you, Bob. And keep me posted. Send me the things. Let me know if I can post just a little video that we took and say coming next couple of weeks, me and Bob. And let me know.
You can do that, or I can send you. Let me send you something. I'll send you something that you'll like.
Sounds good.
Because you look so handsome right now. I wish you were my son.
Appreciate that.
I love you, Danny.
Love you, Bob. Thank you again.
And everybody's going to see your movie because I'm going to talk about it right now. When you sign off, I'm going to talk about it this minute.
You're the best.
You are.
God bless you. Thanks, Bob.
All good things. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, buddy. Bye.
Bye. Danny A. Abeckaser. He's my friend for a decade, and I don't know how to say his last name. Does anybody ever have this problem with him? I bet most of you know him, just as a friend. Danny is a very special, interesting, wonderful guy, and I love him. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation. He has a movie out right now that he starred in, and he directed and produced, and it's called I Love Us. And it's in theaters right now, and it's also on iTunes and Apple and Amazon, everywhere. So I Love Us. It's a lovely, sweet story, and then he'll go back into murdering people in his next film. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys are doing good. This is, of course, Bob Saget's Here For You. You can find it on the YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Bob Saget. You can subscribe, you can download it, and you can listen to it. That's how I do it. I've actually never heard an episode. Well, I have. I'm just kidding, because you gotta make them nice and pretty for people, and take out anything bizarre that I do wrong. And also, you can get it if sometimes you follow it. You don't necessarily subscribe, which would put you on a different platform. That would be Spotify. It's on everything. It's on Twitcher and Snatcher and Crotcher. So, and Blinson. So I'm just wishing you a good time and hope you're doing okay through this insane world we're in. And I'm on tour, so check out bobsaget.com. And I'm as safely as possible, putting people together as safely as possible, and having people laugh again live is a fantastic experience. And I hope to do it as long as possible and continue through this stuff we're all living through. And I hope you're not too stress-ridden and not in too much pain. And I wish you all well and a lot of good health, and lots of love. Bob Saget's here for you. See you, talk to you next week.